Good evening. News Channel 20 is following a developing story out of Champaign tonight, where investigators say one man has died after being shot near Franklin Middle School. Champaign police say they arrived on the scene in the 600 block of West Beardsley around 6 tonight, where one vehicle collided with another after it was shot at. A 19-year-old man nearby was also hit by gunfire. Investigators describe his injuries as non-life-threatening. We have not heard if there was a motive. They are still looking for those responsible. Anyone who knows anything about the shooting is asked to call the Champaign Police Department. New at 10, Springfield School District 186 and its teachers now have a contract. Tonight, the school board approved a one-year contract agreement with the Springfield Education Association. News Channel 20's Lindsay Hess joining us in studio with a breakdown of the new contract. Lindsay?
Stacey, Springfield teachers actually started the school year without a new contract. Now they can look forward to a salary increase, and they'll now be paid retroactively for the difference between the new and old contracts. The starting salary for a new teacher is now $35,000, while the total cost to the district for certified staff salary increases is more than $1.7 million, as will the total salary for non-certified staff. Superintendent Jennifer Gill says the district will still have a balanced budget with the salary increases.
You know, once again, it's honoring our teachers, not only for the service that they give each and every day, but their years of service to our system, and that's another piece of the puzzle that I think made this a good agreement. But also it's about the kids, and it's about having the right teachers in the classroom and really serving them well.
School Board President Mike Zimmer says the board has a good working relationship with the Springfield Education Association and negotiations were cordial. Again, this contract is only for 1 year. Zimmer says it's difficult to have a multi-year contract right now with the uncertainty at the State House. Back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay, for that report. People with disabilities will soon have an easier time getting around parts of Lanphier High School. Restrooms, water fountains, and ramps inside the gyms and leading to the main office will all be renovated so anyone can use them. That's because places where there are state, federal, and local government programs need to be accessible to the public.
When the Department of Justice architectural survey came back, Superintendent Gill and the board immediately directed staff to begin making changes suggested by the architect, even if they were not related to the McQuillan lawsuit.
Rob Cross is representing the school district in a lawsuit it faces over Lanphier's access for those with disabilities. He says before, students with disabilities were transferred out of Lanphier to another District 186 school because it would be too difficult for them to get around the entire school. New at 10, it was a packed house in Decatur tonight as the city council weighed the option of tearing down homes to build a new grocery store. The plan would move the Aldi on Pershing Road to West Ash, which is a residential neighborhood. News Channel 20's Brendan Cullerton has the recap of tonight's meeting.
Stacey, council voted not to demolish the homes in order to put in the Aldi store. Tonight's 4-3 vote is a big win for residents. As council members said, they didn't want to set a precedent where residential homes could simply be rezoned, even if it does mean more money for a city that is struggling. And sales tax estimates estimate that the city could lose up to $120,000 because of this decision. Aldi now says it will assess its options, which include leaving Decatur altogether, but nobody here seemed to mind much. When Councilman Bill Faber said he wouldn't tear apart an established neighborhood because of business demands, the crowd gave a huge vote of approval.
I'm exuberant. I've always contended that the west side of 51 is residential and the east side is commercial. And it's like they've said before, it's a beautiful neighborhood. It's been there for years. It wasn't built for commercial.
The proposed new location on Ash Street and Business 51 also drew criticism for a potential of increased traffic issues and accidents in an already busy area. Mayor Maura Wolf, who voted for the proposal, says the city will at some point need to revisit something like this again. She says since she became mayor, she's noticed the city is struggling to pay all of its bills and growth is stagnant. But for today, that opinion lost out to the opinion that preserving neighborhoods is more important. From Decatur, Brendan Cullerton, News Channel 20.
Also new at 10, a new survey shows more than 3 of every 4 state service agencies have cut programs and are helping fewer patients. That's because of the state budget crisis. The United Way of Illinois released the survey today of almost 550 agencies. They also found about a third of those agencies polled say they could run out of money in the next month or so. Moody's says no state budget means it could become more expensive for the state to borrow money. The Investors Service says Illinois could face another credit downgrade if it misses a pension payment next month. That comes after Comptroller Leslie Munger said the state does not have the money to make the payment. Illinois already has the worst credit rating of the 50 states. Fitch Ratings downgraded Illinois' rating on outstanding bonds today, citing the state budget standoff. Happening tomorrow, both the House and Senate are set to be back in sessions in Springfield. The Senate has not announced what it will discuss, but the House is set to discuss several pieces of legislation, including a measure that would appropriate state spending for big lottery winners and fire protection grants. Representatives are also set to discuss the contract of the superintendent of the State Board of Education and possible property tax relief for Chicago. One political expert says both Republicans and Democrats are to blame, but most of the blame should go to Governor Bruce Rauner.
Governor Rauner has some pretty high, strong demands, particularly for policy change in terms of unions and taxes and tort reform and workers' compensation that he's sticking to. And he's using that as a bargaining chip in the budget process, which complicates the budgeting negotiations enormously.
The head of the state Republican Party announcing today he's standing behind Governor Rauner's asking of those reforms before agreeing to a state budget. That comes after former Republican governor Jim Edgar accused Rauner of holding the budget hostage. New at 10, a congressman who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the civil rights movement, speaking at UIS this evening. Representative John Lewis of Georgia talked about social justice and his experiences with the civil rights movement. Representative Lewis shared several stories, including how he became involved with the movement.
I wrote a letter to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., told him I needed his help. I didn't tell my mother, my father, my brothers and sisters, or any of my teachers. Dr. King wrote me back and sent me a round-trip Greyhound bus ticket and invited me to come to Montgomery to meet with him.
Lewis has been in Congress for more than 25 years. Before that, he helped organize the March on Washington and was one of the civil rights leaders of the Bloody Sunday March in Selma, Alabama. Lewis received the Medal of Freedom in 2011.
Well, we did see a lot of sunshine during the course of the day today, but we also saw some very windy conditions with winds gusting anywhere from 30 to 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour. This evening, though, we're looking at partly cloudy skies. It'll be breezy and mild during the overnight. Our lows will be sinking down to around 50 degrees. Here's a look at the highs today. 73 in Chicago, almost 80 in St. Louis, 68 degrees in Indy. Now starting to see these temperatures drop. 58 in Champaign, 63 degrees in Springfield. Meanwhile, winds still in the capital city out of the south at around 17 miles an hour. At Willard Airport near Champaign, winds out of the south at around 15. We're going to continue to see breezy conditions tomorrow under bright sunshine. We'll top out in the 70s tomorrow. That warming trend continues. We'll let you know how long with the Storm Team forecast coming up.
Still ahead with David Muir anchoring from Chicago this evening. We talk with him about what brought ABC News to the Windy City tonight and the biggest story he's covered. And it's homecoming week at Illinois. Sports Director Donnie Tillman tells us what the Illini football team has planned for Wisconsin. That's later in sports. In tonight's national news, the federal government will soon require drone owners to register them. The FAA says drone sightings doubled in the last year, including pilots who said they saw the devices flying close to their planes and at airports. Now, a task force is hammering out the details about when, where, and how drone owners will be affected. ABC News reports toys and small drones could be exempt from registering. World News Tonight with David Muir going live from the Windy City today, and we had a chance to speak with the ABC anchor about the big stories he's covered in the past year and what brings him to Chicago.
David, you've been to Illinois several times now for your On the Road segment. Why are you in Chicago here for the show tonight?
We were here in Chicago to speak with business leaders from this community who are all about holding the government accountable for your tax dollars and missing money that's been spent. So it's really fueling our team to keep on that Your Money series. But as you know, we've been traveling the country really for several years now with our Made in America series and America Strong. We've done the WeatherTech mats right here in the Chicago area. They've bought that ad in the Super Bowl, those proud American workers. And tonight, you will be there with us as our cameras are rolling. Another anonymous check has been handed out here in Chicago. The program is now going nationwide, and we'll let everyone at home tonight know how you can help decide where the next anonymous check goes. This was really something that we witnessed here today.
Pretty exciting. We're looking forward to that. Now, David, it's been just over a year since you took over the anchor chair, and from the presidential elections to the Charleston shootings, you covered a lot of stories. What are some of the biggest ones you've covered in that time?
Well, it's hard to believe the first year has gone by, and we thank all the viewers right there for helping us along in this journey. But as you point out, it's been sort of an incredible run as far as the stories that we've covered in the first year. We traveled to Cuba after our exclusive with the president on changing relations with Cuba. And then we ended the first year by traveling to the Vatican for that extraordinary moment with Pope Francis. You know, really the first time that the Catholic Church has opened up the Vatican for an hour town hall like the one that we saw. And, you know, I'll never forget arriving at the Vatican. I was waiting outside the doors where they told me Pope Francis would emerge. And about 20 minutes into it, still standing there, the door opens, and instead of him coming out, they wave me in, just one lone hand. I walk in, and standing there is a handler, and behind the door when it closes is Pope Francis. And as you know, his primary language is Spanish, so we had a conversation in Spanish behind closed doors, really just the Pope and me. And I think they call him the People's Pope, and this was really the first sort of signal of exactly who he is, really trying to take a measure probably of the reporter from America who was about to sit down with him. But it was an extraordinary moment being able to connect Pope Francis with 3 different cities in America even before he got here, and so many of those families who were eagerly awaiting him.
And that was David Muir reporting from Chicago tonight. Well, the thaw is out. It's begun in central New York after parts of there saw, as you see, snow over the weekend. Some areas reported getting up to 9 inches of snow. But good news for those there who don't want an early winter. Forecasters predict there should be no snow this week, along with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Well, taking a live look here at the capital city, nowhere near snow conditions for us. It was a gorgeous start to the work week. What's in store for the rest of the week? Doug Quick's in next with a full check of the forecast.
It's the Green Hyundai Cam at Lake Springfield Marina. You're watching ABC News Channel 20.
And I'm Doug Quick in for Thomas Patrick this evening, and he was successful in adding another $100 to Better Life, Better Living for Kids from the Green Family Stores. Saturday's forecasted high at 57. He was within the range at 56 degrees. Good for him, and certainly a worthy cause. As we look out to the west here from West Champaign, you can see the moon out there, the big weather story here as we look ahead over the next few days. Still looking at mostly clear skies, even though it's partly cloudy right now. But it will be mild during the overnight. For tomorrow, sunshine, breezy conditions once again. It'll be a warm day, even warmer for Wednesday. We're going to be up pretty close to 80 degrees across the area, and then we'll start to see these temperatures drop a bit for Thursday and Friday, but still very pleasant even for this time of year. High pressure keeping things clear here over much of the central part of the country. Tightly packed isobars means we're looking at some strong winds, and that'll be the story tomorrow as well, although we don't anticipate seeing these winds gusting up to around 35 to 40 miles an hour as we had it today. Still looking at some breezy conditions, seeing a little bit of cloud cover here by tomorrow evening, and maybe even a sprinkle or two. Now, as this front starts to move through the area, we're not expecting to see it do much to our weather other than drop the temperatures a few notches as we get into Thursday and Friday. So far, live Doppler not indicating any precipitation. In fact, it hasn't for a couple of weeks. Here from the west side of Champaign, we were hoping to see some significant rainfall as we get into the weekend, and I'll tell you more about that coming up. Look at the highs today. 77 in Jacksonville, also in Peoria, 75 in Springfield, 73 degrees in Champaign, and 69 in Danville. Winds still pretty brisk coming in from the south at around 15 to 17 miles an hour, generally speaking. Temperatures currently 60 degrees in Decatur, 63 degrees in Springfield, 61 at the other Twin Cities in Bloomington Normal, 58 in Champaign-Urbana, 59 right now in Danville. Now, as we look at the forecast for tonight, still, even though we're seeing partly cloudy skies now, at least here in east central Illinois, mostly clear skies are expected across the area, generally speaking, with breezy conditions. Then as we get into the day tomorrow, all the way up to 79 degrees, mostly sunny. It'll be breezy and warm. Winds could be gusting up to around 20, and certainly that's not quite as strong as we were looking at a little earlier today. Look at this for Wednesday, all the way up to 83, back down to 76 degrees on Thursday, still well above average for this time of year. Here's our chance of rain showers late Friday into Saturday. Temperatures start to drop as we finish out the weekend on Sunday. We'll see a high temperature only around 65, down to 61 degrees on Monday, which is pretty close to what's typical for this time of year. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. Stay with us.
We are at the final stretch for our Ideal Auto Sales Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week as 8th and High Warriors square off against the Pleasant Plains Cardinals. Michelle London explains how Pleasant Plains parents are also getting involved with the big game.
Well, as the old saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, this Pleasant Plains community is giving what they have to the football players to make sure they have what it takes to win on game day. Before every home football game here in Pleasant Plains, Ron Hergenrother is working hard to make sure the field is in proper condition.
I work on the buses, the lawnmowers, the paint machines. Anything they need that has a motor, I work on it.
Hergenrother says he started volunteering for the school 4 years ago when his son was a freshman. Hergenrother enjoys painting the football field most.
There'll be 3 of us running these machines, and one guy and gal will grab the string and jump over the next guy, and we'll just keep going down. We'll do the whole inside.
A job that takes around 5 hours and 45 gallons of paint to complete. And when it comes to helping out during football season here, Hergenrother is not alone.
We're lucky that we have almost every parent who volunteers in some capacity throughout the season. We've got about 62 players on the roster, and we're blessed to have parents and step-parents and grandparents who all help.
Mom and volunteer Amy Raftis says about 120 volunteers are on deck.
We have one couple that are the photographers and newsletter volunteers. We work concession stands. If you can think of it, we can do it.
The volunteers also include a group called the Real Moms of Football. And every Thursday night, they serve a large dinner to the team before game day.
Lots of nights at the Costa because it's easy if you're feeding 50 to 75 boys.
It's really good. I'm happy that they come and do this for us.
Aside from creating a bonding experience between the players,
the parents who are volunteering and who do the work actually get to know each other a lot better by spending a few hours a week together.
Now, Raftis says supporting the team can cost up to $17,000 a year, but to help offset those costs, the volunteers sponsor auctions and fundraisers throughout the year. Well, if you can't be in the stands Friday night, we'll be broadcasting the game live on our sister station, the CW23.
Okay, Sports Director Donnie Tillman joining us now. We were just talking about the wrapping up of Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week, but let's keep with it.
That's right. Let's talk about the top performers, not me, the guys that are on the field. As we wrap up that regular season, a few guys stood out for their performances Friday night. That story and more next in sports.
Now, sports with Donnie Tillman.
Good evening, everyone. It's homecoming week for the University of Illinois. Coming off a bye week, the Illini football team will entertain Wisconsin and Champaign this Saturday. The Badgers come in at 5-2 on the season with losses to Bama and Iowa this year. Illinois enters with a record of 4-2. Wisconsin head coach Paul Chryst calls Illinois quarterback Wes Lunt a good player and says Illinois' offense is really clicking right now. Lunt appears to feel the same way about the Badgers as well.
I don't think we're favored to win this game by any means. So I think just, if we just play within ourselves, one play at a time, I think we'll be okay. And it's against a really good Wisconsin team, offensively and defensively, so we're going to have to play really well.
And the Gray Ghost uniforms return this weekend. Illinois hosts Wisconsin Saturday at 2:30. Time to put the rally caps on if you're the Chicago Cubs. The North Siders return to Wrigley Field today, down 0-2 in their best-of-7 series with the New York Mets. Cubs manager Joe Maddon is taking a one-game-at-a-time approach with his team. He says the Cubs need to maintain focus. Game 3, the Mets will start Jacob deGrom on the mound. The Cubs beat him twice in the regular season. Chicago says he's good, but they're good too, and have a lot of confidence heading into Game 3 tomorrow night.
They beat us 2 games. They pitched extremely well. They did. You got to give them credit. Their command of their pitches, what they did was spectacular. Give them credit. But I have a real strong belief system in our guys, and I'm really eager to watch tomorrow night's game.
This is where we want to be. We got to get this win. We're back at home. We got the fans here. Hopefully, we can get us back on track and we score a few runs.
Cubs and Mets Game 3 at Wrigley Field is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Prep volleyball tonight. Rochester hosting Williamsville this evening. We'll start things off late in the second set. Rochester trailing, but Chloe Rickman shows the simple touch, and she finds the empty space for a point. Then later it's going to be Cassidy Dooley who finds Cameron Sapetti. She gets the kill there for the Rockets, but Williamsville would respond. It's going to be Bridget Rhodes going up. She gets the big kill there. And then later it's Abby Galusha who scores with the cross-court winner. Williamsville wins in 2 sets. Pawnee visiting Lincolnwood tonight. The Lancers student section all fired up for this one. First set, Indians on the attack. It's going to be Shelby Harden who scores right here for Pawnee. Then later it's going to be Briley Johnson. She's going to find the back line, and that falls through for a point. Great touch there. More from Pawnee, though. It's Kylie Craig Miles who rises and fires, and a kill by the defender. But the Lancers claim the MSM Conference crown. Carly Bruntgen scores here for Lincolnwood. 26-2 on the season they are. The Lincolnwood Lancers beat Pawnee in 2 sets. To high school football now, we enter the final week of the regular season, but before we get to week 9, we have to honor our top performers of week 8. First up is the Drew Connection. Auburn quarterback Drew Chance was 16 of 20 and 193 yards, 3 touchdowns. And wideout Drew Points, 11 catches, 153 yards, and 2 touchdowns against New Berlin. Also next up is going to be Cole Hembra of Glenwood. The Titan signal caller had 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns in the big win over Eisenhower. And finally, Reggie Dickerson of Lanphier. The Lions running back carried the ball 23 times for 210 yards and a touchdown. Remember, this Friday, our game of the week is Athens at Pleasant Plains. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. here on News Channel 20, then flip over to CW23 for the game at 7. And after that, it's Friday Night Rivals recap at 10:15. Remember to visit newschannel20.com for the latest info. As you look at sports, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Quiet night Monday. Just you and me holding down the fort.
Hey, you know what? We have to do what we have to do.
We do. Okay, that does it for us. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.